Hey, good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Russick. I'm the president of the Coachella Valley Cannabis Alliance Network. Nice to see some new faces. Nice to see some repeating faces. It's great to be here. We're getting some exciting programming going on. Just a few things. CVCAN is a 501c3 nonprofit trade association. Our mission is to be a reasonable and productive voice for our members in the cannabis community in the Coachella Valley, as well as the great state of California. We do this, among other things, through innovative programming in the areas of education, networking, advocacy, and that's pretty much what we're about. A quick land acknowledgement. CVCAN's board would like to acknowledge that the lands that we stand upon are the unceded ancestral homes of the Cahuilla people, and we gratefully acknowledge their stewardship of this land. We have all kinds of stuff going on. We have membership in the back. We have a charity golf event coming up. We're going to be doing a bowling event, which Sammy right there is going to be in charge of. Yes, I'm looking at you. So I want to thank our sponsors for today, Mission Valley Bank, and just all the people who have participated over Canna Week. Really, really excited. We've got some board members here behind the camera. We've got Kevin Lopez, who's vice president. We have Elisabeth, who is the not only a board member, but the head of our health and wellness committee, and her wife is also on the health and wellness committee, Sherri. We've got Sammy Dipner back there, who's board member and general manager of the microbuttery. Sam Turner in the back is membership, so you can see him anything about membership or you're curious about. Nicole Robles Turner, who is the architect of the entire Canna Week series of events and has done a tremendous job. And then, of course, Sherri McDonald, who's responsible not only for the delicious nibbly bits we have, but all things administrative at CVCAN, and so we thank her. I'm going to introduce my friend Ishka Hillman, who has been our host and continues to be our host for the 4 days of Canna Week. She is the founder of the Canna Boss Babes and an award-winning podcast host. I'm going to turn it over to her, and then she'll introduce the ladies, and hilarity will ensue. Thank you all for coming.
All right, thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody. It's been such a fun week. I'm day 3 of Canna Week. And again, thank you, Nicole. This has been such an amazing experience. As someone who spent a little bit of time out here at different various points of my youth, I've never been able to spend so much concentrated time and then also had such wonderful, gracious people and community like waiting at every stop in order to be able to really learn more about your community and what you guys are building here, both within the industry and also, again, just that the community, speaking to the different politicians, speaking to different consumers within within your community here, and what it means to be able to have lounges and community centers that let you talk about cannabis, right? And so it's just an honor to be able to be a part of this. Thank you again. Today, these ladies, I'm so excited to introduce them. I actually had the wonderful opportunity to interview them each individually on my podcast, as a part of promoting this and getting to learn about their work. And one thing that was really clear from both interviews was their dedication is not just to the consumers, but through the medical profession, and making sure that you guys aren't just trying to figure it out on your own. And of course you have these lovely ladies as a resource, but that when you go to the doctor or other people go to their doctor, that their medical providers are educated as well. And I think that's like just such a huge part of what you do, because it's like sales. You get a lot of no's before you get a yeses. And so it takes a lot of courage to do this work and to really, be 10 toes down for this plant sometimes, because you get so many no's. And so as pioneers in this space of education for the consumers, for aging, and authors and a million other things, these women are incredible. Thank you for paving the way for others to be able to do this work as well, because I know it's going to take a whole lot more, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So thank you, Elisabeth and Sherri Mack, the green nurses.
All right, thank you, Ishka.
Thank you.
And please, I'm excited to learn more about what you have to teach us. Thank you.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. So yeah, welcome to Aging Well with Cannabis and Hemp CBD. This is the senior center. We were expecting a little bit more older people, but everybody can learn. It's my dream to have 100 people that are 65 years old that are going to have a pathway away from just pharmaceuticals and to understand cannabis. But we work where we are, and so the first thing, we always, as healthcare professionals, there's always a disclaimer. This is not approved by the FDA. And we're not responsible for anything that you do after this, but may you find your path through education today. All right.
And so I'm going to introduce myself and just give a little bit about my background. So my name is Sherri Mack. I've been a registered nurse for 38 years. It's a very, very long time. 25 years in the conventional system, working at all the big teaching hospitals in Boston. I've done a lot in my career. You can see that up on the slide. 20 years as a holistic nurse. So looking at things that provide care to mind, body, and spirit. And then 10 years in the plant medicine arena, both cannabis and psychedelics. My story is that cannabis saved my life. Hemp helped me to heal without the high, and psychedelics helped me to start living again because I experienced what they call medical and pharmaceutical trauma. I'm not going to get into that story today, but it is a real thing, and we're seeing patients that experience that over and over. I'm very grateful to be Chief Nursing Officer and co-founder of Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse. It's a cannabis education, coaching, and consulting business. Also Chief Nursing Officer of Bloom Hemp CBD, which I own with Elisabeth, and we'll talk about that later on. Founder and host of the Green Nurse award-winning podcast, started podcasting in 2018 to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high. My message is H is for hope, I is for inspiration, G is for growth, and H is for healing. That's what cannabis does. It brings that hope, inspiration, growth, and healing across all domains of health. I'm involved in a lot of different cannabis nursing organizations, and I am a board member, former board member of the Cannabis Nurses Association, member of Society of Cannabis Clinicians, member of the Coachella Valley Cannabis Alliance, author of Ask the Green Nurse, Substack, and writer for the Kenigma, I Got Syndicated, and contributing author to Clark's Cannabis, a Handbook for Nurses, which is the first nursing textbook. Really grateful to be here, and now it's Elisabeth's turn.
Okay. All right, so I've been a nurse 1 year longer. I've been in healthcare 40 years. I worked in hospitals for 9 years and said, this is not for me. I got my MBA in healthcare administration, went into insurance companies, did operations and sales for 20 years, and ended up coming to cannabis after I crashed my bicycle. I went out on leave to have surgery. I had some shoulder surgery. And I was introduced to CBD at my chiropractor's office, coincidentally, January of 2015. With a topical massage, and I'm like, hey, what is this? It smells funny. And she goes, it's cannabis. And I said, why are you putting cannabis on me? She goes, it's anti-inflammatory. It's going to reduce your pain. If you use it all the time, it'll help you work through PT and get back to that pre-surgical arm faster. And I said, okay, sign me up and tell me more. And then I started taking it internally. And I said, okay, I'm taking this CBD every day, high milligram Humboldt cannabis CBD in capsules. And I said, I don't need the muscle relaxants as much. I don't need the Motrin as much. Why hasn't anybody told me about this? I've been in medicine for 30 years. And so I went to the dispensary. I'm like, how do I use it for all of these other things, right? Because I heard about cannabis, and then I started to study it. I got addicted to PubMed. I went to the library, took out all the books I could on cannabis. And really, fast forward into figuring out how to use it for myself. And once I did that, I said, wow, I've got to help others. And I wasn't happy with implementing healthcare reform. I wanted to do something else back in medicine, and this was what I decided to do. So, fast forward, I then created curriculum to train nurses because I ran sales for Anthem Blue Cross for the County of San Diego, and I had 1,000 brokers under me, and I'm like, imagine if 1,000 nurses understood what I know now. So that was the impetus to putting everything online and making the programs. And so we train healthcare professionals in how to use this as a medicine, and then patient programs as well. And I've had several board positions and stay very busy. So we are not the only nurses doing this.
Yeah, this is very, very exciting. So the American Nurses Association, which represents 5 million nurses in the United States, has recognized cannabis nursing as a specialty. And what what that means is nurses will be able to sit at some point in time and get board certified in cannabis nursing. So I just want to state that nurses are the only licensed medical professionals today that publicly support cannabis. The American Medical Association, I go to their website every day, they still see it as a drug of abuse, and they only approve of things that are FDA approved. So they're not going to be, so hopefully with some of the reform that's coming up in the future, we're going to see some changes. So the American Nurses Association has supported providing safe access to therapeutic use of cannabis for over 20 years. That's really powerful. And cannabis nursing is holistic nursing, and we are holistic caring.
Yay. So, has anybody heard the phrase the silver tsunami? You know, if you're over 65, you probably know, but every single day in America, somebody's turning 65. 10,000 of them. 10,000 people are turning 65, and 1 out of 6 Americans, 58 million people, are now 65 years old or older. And as this population ages and grows, so does the burden of age-related health conditions. And that is true. When you think about chronic pain, arthritis, hypertension, sleep disturbances, etc., this is what we need to talk about because let's face it, we need to practice stronger self-care. And cannabinoids and lifestyle medicine can help us. Because I don't know how many of you have tried to get in with a doctor lately, but it's harder and harder to get an appointment, to get the procedures, to get anything that you need. And what's important as we age, our cognition, our movement, and maintaining quality of life. But guess what? This population is starting to shift towards cannabis. And this is sort of groundbreaking. Older adults have become one of the fastest growing demographics that are now adopting cannabis use. In 2006, 0.4% of 65 plus used cannabis. Today, it's 7%. And the majority of those older users are using medical first cannabis, right? So they're using it for pain, arthritis, neuropathy, sleep disorders, and mostly after traditional medicines have already failed. They don't like the side effects, they don't like the cost, they don't feel good, right? And cannabis gives us a holistic way to go forward.
Okay, so the top 3 reasons seniors come to cannabis, this is all research-based. Chronic pain is the most common reason older adults use medical cannabis, improving symptom control. Anxiety. Cannabis and CBD are being used in seniors to alleviate anxiety symptoms, with research indicating moderate success in patient-reported outcomes. And then insomnia, right at UC San Diego Health Center showed that older adults use cannabis to help manage insomnia, noting improvements in sleep quality, restorative sleep, waking up feeling refreshed.
Yeah, and when it comes to chronic pain, CBD quiets the inflammation, THC quiets the pain signaling in the brain. And what does all pain have to do in common? What does all aging have to do in common? Inflammation, right? So we are an inflammation nation. And you know, I was talking to my sister last night about this. She has rheumatoid arthritis. Anti-inflammatory diet is number 1. CBD is number 2. Like, I've got to get her to understand she's still not adopting cannabis. You know, I'm kind of the outlier in the family. But, you know, I'm telling her cannabis is anti-inflammatory. And when you think about, you know, being inflamed and then anti-inflammatory measures, do we want to use the ibuprofen, the naproxen, all of these other things that tear up the stomach, are hard on the kidneys, etc.? Or do we want to use a plant that is natural and nuanced in the way that it heals us?
Okay, so pain is the number 1 condition in the United States for cannabis therapy. So pain is the alarm of disease, the symptom that announces all is not right in our world. So this slide is actually taken from New Frontiers data in 2023, showing that pain is by far the most common condition treated with cannabis at 47%, followed by anxiety and panic attacks at 22%, and then you can see depression, sleep disorder, PTSD, etc. And it should be noted that people were using cannabis simultaneously to treat both mental, emotional, physical, social, spiritual, the 5 domains of health, using to manage multiple things at the same time. And 93% said that it helped their condition. That's a pretty powerful statistic. Okay, so therapeutic use of cannabis. So the same exact study stated that it reduces the reliance on all pharmaceuticals. Over half of cannabis consumers, 54%, reported replacing some or all of their prescription medications with cannabis. Medications were reduced for depression, pain, sleep, arthritis, and 59% use cannabis as a substitute for some of the over-the-counter drugs like non-steroidals, Motrin, and some of the sleep aids that we see. And these same consumers actually viewed cannabis as less harmful, with less side effects and costs related to pharmaceuticals.
Yep.